Hi, I'm Mike Roberts. Today we're going to talk about the sales process, the adoption process, and what's really important as customers gain power over their providers. How perhaps we could be looking at this, and I'm hoping to question some assumptions that we might take for granted. Forrester tells us that customer expectations are not being met. In fact, 96% of companies are continuing to lag behind their customers' continually rising expectations. So thinking about this, and particularly in our recurring revenue SaaS world, how does the process look? Well, traditionally, it's been a case of sales engagement, and then we have what's often regarded as the sales finish line. The adoption process then begins with the implementation and ultimately the go live, the training, and so on. And of course, traditionally, the company is funded and fueled by this big influx of dollars that happens as soon as the sale is complete, the transaction is done. Traditionally, people then are not all over the customer during the rest of the cycle. In fact, customers are less well served. Now, if we look at the SaaS world and we look at what's happening today, as we know, the dollars still happen at the end of a sales cycle. They may be smaller than an outright purchase of software, but what's happening beyond that, as we know, is we're looking to attract continuing dollar opportunities as we go through upsell, as we go into renewal, and as we hopefully go into cross-sell of products as well. So our customer lifetime value gets built. But in looking at that, it just strikes me that the assumption that sales leaves here and some adoption process kicks off may well be wrong. The sales process doesn't necessarily finish in the customer's mind when the transaction is complete. Because after all, until they have value from a system, until they actually reach the first value for them, the process that they have put in place, the system that they bought is actually creating the value that they expected, that's when they believe the sales process is over. So my question is, suppose the sales process is therefore longer, and we know it starts later, but instead of just being an overall shorter process, just suppose it's almost as long, it just doesn't really complete until the customer actually gets to realizing value from the product or service. What would that mean from the point of view of looking at customer success and the job we do? What would that mean from the point of view of the sales role too, and the process of engagement? When does it actually end? And actually, after all, isn't it really just from first time the lead happens all the way through to the full realization of value for the customer? And the sales finish line never actually happens. So how would this affect the way you're planning your customer success organization, your sales process? And what sort of things would you decide to do now if we were operating a continual process rather than one where we see one begin when one ends? Well, first off, we'd have to work really hard to eradicate the pre to post sales transition. I know there's been a lot of work done here, but we're still not at that point. Secondly, we have to define and engineer the customer outcome. At the end of the day, realizing and understanding the customer getting to first value, and then ultimately to getting the outcome. This is the business outcome, the value of a product that they wanted at the beginning is really important. So for customer success, what we have to do is to be able to quantify and be very specific about what that first value stage is and also what that final value stage may be. And to actually have those as more tangible goals for a customer success team and for the company. It also means that the roles in this process might well be different. If you think about a world where sales doesn't finish where it used to, and customer success perhaps starts earlier than we expect. What does that do to the roles in the organization? What does that do? Because ultimately it takes a village to put a customer into being and to actually serve them over time. And finally, incentive plans. How would they look in a world where your process was fundamentally different, where that sales process didn't actually complete until much later, when the customer actually reached first value? We'll be talking more about compensation and incentive bonuses in the future in a later video. I'm Mike Roberts. Thanks for watching.